Inside the Vatican's quiet strategy to crown Tagle as Pope, there was more than faith guiding the way. This moment did not happen by chance. It was the result of years of observation, planning, and thoughtful decision-making within the heart of the Catholic Church. When Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle was announced as Pope Francis II, it marked a turning point in the Church's history, a decision that echoed the Vatican's understanding of a changing world and a growing Church in the global South. Cardinal Tagle's election did not just signal a change in leadership. It was a symbolic and strategic act that reflected the Vatican's recognition of the immense growth of Catholicism in Asia and the need for broader representation within the hierarchy. This decision was rooted in the reality that the Church could no longer be centered only in Europe. Asia, with its rising Catholic population, vibrant faith communities, and increasing global influence, could no longer be a distant chapter in the Church's story. It had to be part of its future. Tagle's journey to the papacy began in Manila, Philippines. Born into a humble family, he grew up in a home full of love, kindness, and Catholic faith. Even as a child, he showed signs of deep compassion and an unusual maturity for his age. He spent hours in church, drawn to the quiet presence of the divine. He loved helping others not for praise, but because he believed it was what God wanted. This pure-hearted dedication stayed with him throughout his life. As he grew older, Tagle felt a strong call to serve. He became a priest, not because it was expected, but because it was his true calling. He wanted to make a difference, to bring comfort to those who suffered, and to offer hope to those who were lost. His years of study were marked by excellence. He earned a doctorate in theology from the Catholic University of America, where his brilliance stood out. But what made him special was not just his mind, it was his heart. Despite his achievements, he remained humble, approachable, and deeply grounded in his faith. Tagle's humility and empathy touched people. He had a way of connecting with others that made them feel heard and valued. Whether he was talking to world leaders or ordinary parishioners, he treated everyone with the same respect and warmth. His leadership style was compassionate and inclusive. As Archbishop of Manila, he worked tirelessly for the poor and marginalized. He spoke out against corruption, injustice, and poverty, always standing up for those who had no voice. His actions reflected the values of a servant leader, someone who did not seek power but accepted it to serve others better. The Vatican noticed Tagle's work and character. Under Pope Francis, he was given roles that raised his profile within the global Church. His appointment as prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples was a major step. This position put him in charge of missionary work around the world, allowing him to build relationships with bishops and cardinals from every continent. It also gave him a platform to share his vision of a church that is merciful, inclusive, and connected to the realities of everyday people. Pope Francis saw in Tagle a kindred spirit. They shared a vision of a church that listens more than it speaks, embraces rather than excludes, and walks with the people rather than above them. Their bond went beyond theology. It was rooted in a shared commitment to renewal. As the Vatican looked to the future, it became clear that Tagle was not just a good candidate for higher leadership, he was the right one. When Pope Francis passed, away the world mourned, and the College of Cardinals prepared to choose a new leader. The conclave that followed was shrouded in tradition and secrecy, as always, but beneath the rituals were conversations, alliances, and deep reflections on what the Church needed most. The Cardinals knew they were choosing not just a spiritual leader, but a symbol of the Church's future direction. Tagle's name had been discussed before, quietly, in trusted circles. His name had come up during previous papal transitions, but now, the conditions were different. The Church was at a crossroads. Its demographics had shifted, its challenges were growing, and its faithful, especially in the global South, needed to see themselves in the leadership of the Church. Those quiet deliberations, a consensus began to form. Cardinal Tagle was not only qualified, but he represented something vital: hope, inclusivity, and change. His election as Pope Francis II was the culmination of a vision years in the making. It was not the product of campaign-style politics, but of careful discernment and strategic foresight.